Before I tell you what happened, I need you to understand that I've spent years trying to convince myself there was a reasonable explanation for that night. I'm not telling this story because I enjoy talking about it. The truth is, I've avoided it for years. The only reason I'm finally speaking about it now is because I'm the only person who walked out of that basement alive. Most people who know the story don't remember my name. They just remember me as the survivor. And honestly, I wish I remembered less. This happened during my final year of high school. There was an old basement beneath the oldest building on campus that had been locked for decades. Nobody knew exactly what was down there. Some people said it used to be storage. Others claimed a caretaker disappeared there years ago. Most of us thought it was just another school rumor. One Friday night, 5 of us decided to find out for ourselves. The school was almost completely empty. The hallways felt strange without the usual noise of students and teachers. Every footstep echoed through the building. When we reached the basement entrance, we found exactly what everyone had described. A heavy steel door with an old padlock. One of my friends had brought bolt cutters. A few seconds later, the lock was broken. The sound echoed down the corridor, and then everything went silent again. For a moment, nobody moved. I think all of us secretly hoped we'd find an excuse to leave. Instead, we opened the door. The smell hit us immediately. The air was damp and stale, like old paper that had been trapped underground for years. A staircase disappeared into darkness. As we walked down, the temperature seemed to drop with every step. At the bottom was a long concrete hallway covered in dust. At first, everything looked abandoned. Then we noticed something strange. There were fresh footprints. Someone had been there recently. That realization made the entire place feel different. At the end of the hallway stood a wooden door. Unlike everything else around it, the door looked clean, as if someone regularly took care of it. One of my friends pushed it open. The room behind it was enormous. Rows of filing cabinets stretched across the basement. Boxes covered the floor. Thousands of photographs filled shelves and tables. At first, we thought we had discovered an old archive. That explanation lasted less than a minute. One of my friends picked up a photograph and immediately went quiet. The picture showed him sitting alone in the school cafeteria. It had been taken only 2 weeks earlier. Nobody understood how it got there. Then we started finding more. Photos of all 5 of us, walking through school, waiting at bus stops, shopping with family, talking with friends. Pictures taken from angles that suggested someone had been watching us for months. Every photograph had our names written neatly on the back. Every photograph was organized, filed, cataloged. The longer we searched, the worse it became. One box contained photographs from our childhoods, birthday parties, family vacations, private moments nobody outside our family should have seen. Then I found a photograph of myself standing in my bedroom when I was 8 years old. The picture had been taken from inside my closet. The problem was that nobody had ever taken that photograph. It shouldn't have existed. My hands started shaking. That's when we heard footsteps. The sound came from somewhere deeper in the basement. Whoever was walking wasn't trying to hide. The footsteps moved slowly and confidently, as if the person already knew exactly where we were. A few moments later, a man appeared in the doorway. To this day, that's one of the details that bothers me most. He looked completely normal, middle-aged, clean clothes, calm expression. Nothing about him looked dangerous. When he spoke, his voice sounded professional, almost friendly. One of my friends demanded to know who he was. The man smiled slightly and said he had been documenting students for many years. Documenting. That was the word he used. Not watching, not following, documenting. Like we were objects in a collection, not people. We started backing toward the exit. The strange thing was that he never tried to stop us. He simply watched. Then one of my friends noticed another cabinet against the wall. Across the front was a label. Tomorrow. Curious, he opened it. Inside were hundreds of photographs dated the following day. Pictures of people doing things that hadn't happened yet. A teacher unlocking her classroom. A student walking through the parking lot. Events from the future. We all knew it was impossible, but we were staring directly at them. Then we found photographs of ourselves. One showed my friend standing beside his car the next morning. Another showed someone entering the school. Then we found the final image. And that's when panic took over. The photograph showed all 5 of us standing in the basement, exactly where we were. The timestamp was only 20 minutes ahead. But that wasn't the worst part. 4 of us were lying on the floor. Only one person remained standing. Me. Nobody cared about explanations anymore. We ran. As we rushed toward the staircase, the man calmly called after us. He said we didn't need to run because we'd already been filed. I still remember those exact words. The next few minutes are difficult to recall clearly. I remember people screaming. I remember someone falling. I remember hearing a loud crack somewhere beneath us. Then everything went dark. When I woke up, I was in a hospital. According to the official report, part of the basement had collapsed. 4 students died. I survived. The police searched the basement. They never found the man. They never found the photographs either. Most people eventually moved on. I tried to do the same. Then 6 months later, I received a package. Inside was a single photograph. The image showed me sleeping in my apartment. It had been taken the night before. Written neatly on the back were 3 words. Archive updated successfully. I reported it immediately. The police found nothing. No fingerprints. No security footage. No leads. Years passed. I moved several times. Changed jobs. Changed cities. But the photographs never stopped arriving. Pictures of me sitting in traffic. Buying groceries. Reading alone. Always taken from places where nobody should have been standing. Then 3 months ago, I received the photograph that finally convinced me this would never end. The image showed me sitting exactly where I am right now, recording this story. The timestamp was tomorrow's date. At first I thought it was another attempt to scare me. Then I noticed something written on the wall behind me. 3 words. Last entry complete. The problem is that those words aren't on my wall. At least not yet. Maybe the photograph is wrong. I've spent years hoping that's true. But every other photograph has been accurate. Every single one. And that's why I'm finally telling this story. Because if that man was telling the truth, then somewhere out there is an archive filled with photographs of people who don't realize they've already been cataloged. And if you're listening to this right now, there might already be a photograph of you sitting exactly where you are, waiting to be filed.